So another thing is, candidates are at times asked to draw the dichotomous keys to separate some of the group of organisms. So you realize that we were talking here already about diagnostic features. If you were asked to draw a dichotomous key, that is a key which at any time is separating, we'll take, for example, organism B, C. So we'll do it as such. The organisms, the given organisms, we have A, B, C, or A, B, C, F, let's say F and G. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 organisms. So we want to separate. We want to draw a dichotomous key to separate these 5 organisms. So what we do is that at any one time we divide these organisms into 2. But from this, it is glaring that we can separate it into plants and animals. So we say here plants, and then here animals, plants and animals. So the organisms that are here, which are plants, we have organism F, and then it means that the rest of what we have here are animals A, B, C, and G. These are all animals. So this one now is isolated. The one we isolated now, and it is standing on the other way this other branch ends. So we write the name. So the name of organism F is groundnut. So we write it and it remains there. Then we come now to continue to divide these ones which are still meaning. So from this A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and G, we can come up with a feature which we can separate them. Let's say we say presence of tube feet, that's present, tube feet present, and then there is absent. It is present here. The organism that has 2 feet is A, and then we have here B, C, and G. So since A now is alone, we write the name of A, which is starfish. Starfish, we write the name and end there. Then we come now to B, C, and G, and we look for another characteristic that can make us to divide them into 2 keys. So we have G, which is a bird. We can say presence of feathers. Feathers present. Then feathers here are absent. The one that has feathers is organism G, which is a chick. And then we have B and C that do not have feathers. So we still have to come down and divide B and C. So B and C, we have the centipede and we have the earthworm. So we can come here, we can say Clitelium, present, and then absent. Where it is present is C, and it is absent in B. So since it is the N, we'll now write the name. C, where it is present is earthworm, and then where it is absent is centipede. So we realize that we would have drawn a dichotomous key. And we are also to note that if you are drawing a dichotomous key, you can be given any group of organisms, any number. If you have, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 organisms here, you have 4 keys. You always have 1 branch less than the number of organisms if your dichotomous key is correct. So if you have 5 organisms, you have 4 branches, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is alright. If you have 10 organisms, you have 10 minus 1 branches, means that you have 9 branches. If you have 12, you have 12 minus 1, which is 11 branches. So if you find yourself drawing a dichotomous key and coming up with more branches than the number of organisms, then you are wrong. And we should not hear that what we are doing here, if you observe what has happened, you see that what we have given out are diagnostic features. But it is possible that in keys, depending on the group of organisms, diagnostic features may not come up. Like for this plant which has come up, if there were some other plants, we will be still dividing it so that each plant stands out distinct. But since it was not, this is a character that separates this plant from the other group of organisms. So it remains there. And candidates are reminded that they are not, there's no order, there's no particular characteristic from where you should start. You can start with any characteristic that you like, but you should take note that all the characteristics that you use are the ones that are observable, the ones that you see, the ones that you observe. Because the organisms are always given to you, and you have the right to turn the organism inside out, turn it left and right, and you see whatever thing. Even if you don't know, you look at it, the difference between the two organisms, it will make you to separate that organism. But if a feature has been used up to separate another organism, it should not be used down again to separate another organism, else it will be wrong. And you will notice that if, for example, this branch here was wrong, if you had done a wrong thing here and it was marked wrong, then automatically, since this one is below this one is a subset of this one, then this one is automatically going to be wrong. So if you start your dichotomous key and you write a wrong characteristic up there, then everything down is not even right. It is just crossed because this one belongs to this. So you should always be very careful that when you are drawing a dichotomous key, you start from the characteristic that you are very sure that it is correct. You observe it and write it there. You will be very alright and you have your marks. So candidates are further reminded that dichotomous keys are hardly missed. They are very regular in practical. So that clearly distinguish those organisms from the others, so that will help them to obtain so many marks. This one, for example, can be about 6 marks. So we realize that it is very easy to obtain these 6 marks without any fact that they do not know what to do. So I hope that this is going to help very much, and then you will be able to draw keys from as many organisms as possible. Yes, ask your question.
I have 2 questions to ask. I want to find out if the names of the organisms must be written under the
letters.
Yes, sir.
And
I also want to find out if when we have 2 branches from the same tree, can we separate the organisms into 2? For instance, the first branch we have just F. Can we have F, E for the plants only and the other side before we continue our separation?
Okay. You must not follow only this time. Okay? You must not follow. See, I will answer that of the names first. The names must be written. At times you are given the organisms and the names are given. That one is clear. But at the end, you always write the name. If you are given the organism and they are given A, B, C, D, the names must be written. You are awarded marks for giving the names at the end. Someone who gives names at the end has more advantage over someone who does not give names. Okay? It actually shows that you actually know what you are doing. So names must always be given at the end if they were not given up there. Okay? But if you were given names up there, you work with names. If you were given letters, you work with letters, and at the end, you write names. Okay? So for the second question, it is very, very clear. If you have your organisms, you have A, B, C, F, G. You can separate them and you have more than one organism. So let's say we are using the elongated bodies. Elongated bodies, then short bodies. Yes. So you now see that for the ones that have an elongated body, we have B, this is the earthworm, we have C, yes, so we have B and C. Then this one for the short bodies, we have A, F, and G. So now we'll be left with, we have to separate these 2 organisms so that it should stand out distinct. So we have now to separate the centipede and the earthworm, okay? And you can say many legs, and then no legs. No legs. You see that the centipede has many legs, but the earthworm has no legs. So the one that has many legs is B, the one that has no legs is C. Then you write the name, centipede. Then here you write the name, earthworm. Okay? Then you come up this way. You come now, you separate this one, A, F, and G. You use any characteristic of your choice. You have the starfish, you have the F, which is a plant, and then a G, which is a bird. So you see that these 3 organisms, they have nothing in common. They have nothing in common. Okay? So when you have these 3 now, you could say that these 3 organisms, you could have animals and plants, if you wish. Animals. So that you have a group animal, plants. Or you could say flowers, no flowers, isn't it? Then you have the plant, then you have F, which is the groundnut. And then here you have now A and G. So you are now left with the starfish and the bird to separate. So you can say tube feet, or you can say presence of legs, feathers, eyes, the beak. Many of them which are present here, which are absent, or those which are present in the starfish, which are absent in the bird. Okay. So if you use, for example, let's say the eyes, you separate them, have eyes, then no eyes. Then you see that G has eyes and then A has no eyes, isn't it? You are not bound to use only particular characteristics. The ones that come, that you observe an organism and you see, write it down. You can even separate one, you can separate three, any group. But the thing is that at the end, you will still have 4 different branches. Because you have 5. Here you have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter how you branch it, you will always have one branch less than the number if you are correct. Okay? Yes, and you should always use characters that are present and absent. Don't say what the organism is doing. Don't say the organism feeds on plants, feeds on moisture, feeds on animals. You do not see that organism feeding. And don't give the size of that organism. Don't give the color of that organism, because that one will be artificial classification. And what we are using is natural system of classification. Okay?